Hi guys, welcome to Book Time. My name is Julia. Today I'm going to be doing a recent haul video, so it's basically all the books I have got over the past 2 months, I think. And it's more than I thought once I put them all together, but some of them were actually gifts for my son. But I'm going to include them because they're cool. So first I'll go through the books I bought for myself. They're in no particular order. So I picked up Pages & Co, Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James, who of course is a booktuber. So this one is about Tilly, who lives above her grandparents' bookstore and then the characters start coming out of some of her favourite books, and then she follows them back into their worlds and sort of goes on an adventure. So I was supposed to get to this as part of the Step Right Up-a-thon. It was the group read, but I didn't get to it, sadly. But I still really want to read it soon. So I'm glad I picked that one up. So that's the first one. The next one I got is Gold Fame Citrus by Vaye Watkins, which I had wanted for a long time. I actually picked this up secondhand from my local secondhand bookstore. But I'd seen it at the library and kind of been thinking about reading it on and off for a couple of years. What attracted me about this was that it was likened to Annie Proulx and Cormac McCarthy, who were two of my favourite writers. So that's basically what won me over before I even looked into what it was about. And to be honest, I'm still not sure what it's about. The back is very vague. The dune sea traps Luz and Ray on the deserted coast of California. On the edge of it is a man with a precious gift. He can find water. At its heart is a betrayal of nature and of human nature that will tear Luz and Ray apart. So I don't really know what it's about, except that it was compared to two authors I really liked. So I picked that one up and hopefully we'll report on it soon. So the next two I just got a few days ago from Readings Kids at the Readings YA Prize party, which I vlogged about, so I'll link that one down below. The first one was Highway Bodies by Alison Evans, which came out through Echo. And this is basically a zombie apocalypse story where the main characters identify as queer or gender non-conforming. So I'm pretty excited about that one. Got a cool bookmark with that one too. So yeah, I really hope to get to that one soon. It sounds really interesting, and I haven't read a zombie book for a really long time, so I think that one sounds cool. The other one I picked up was the book that actually won, which was Stone Girl by Eleni Hale, and this one follows a young girl called Sophie who ends up in the foster care system. So she becomes a ward of the state, and I think it sort of traces her journey through the foster care system, which I gather is, in the context of this book anyway, is very rough and difficult. And I think she makes some friends there who have their own struggles. So I think it's sort of their story, and I'm really looking forward to that one. And I kind of think, don't you think this cover, the girl on the cover kind of looks like, can't remember the actor's name, but Billy from Stranger Things? Something about the eyes. Maybe I'll insert an image and we can do a comparison. The other one I picked up today. Now today is the 1st of August, but hopefully I'm not going to buy many books for the next month or two. So by the time I do my next haul, this one will be like, I kind of count it in my recent reads, and it's still got the stickers all over it. I just bought it from this op shop this morning. It's like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. It's hard to read the cursive font. Let me look up the translator. Translated by Carol Christensen and Thomas Christensen. So the reason I picked this up is Jacqueline actually read this recently, maybe with Michael, and they both really liked it. And I remember this from my childhood because it came out when I was little, and I remember my mum and all her friends loved it and were like reading it at book clubs and lending copies of it to each other. So I always associate it with like that era. But I'm going to read it because the others said it was really good, and also it's Women in Translation Month, and I thought better read some books in translation. I have a video coming up about that soon too. The next two are also translated books. It's The Mirror Visitor, Winter's Promise and the Missing of Claire de Lune by Christelle Dabos, and translated from the French by Hildegard Searle. I should say that the Like Water for Chocolate was translated from the Spanish. So I don't think I need to talk about these ones much because most people on BookTube have probably seen them or read them. And to be honest, I haven't even paid attention on BookTube to what they're about. But I know they're a YA fantasy and that people are really loving it, especially by the time the second one comes around. Apparently it's really awesome. So I'm really excited to get to those, and I am really thankful it's Women in Translation Month because it's a really great chance for me to read these books, which have been lying around for the last month, not being read, even though I really want to read them. I also picked up The Peacock Detectives by Carly Nugent, which was out through Text, and this was the winner of the Readings Children's Book Prize this year. And it was also shortlisted for the Text Prize, which is an unpublished manuscript award, but obviously was considered good enough to get published, even though it didn't win that one. But this was really good. I'll talk about it properly in my wrap-up video, but basically it's about a young girl called Cassie and her best friend Jonas, and they form a club, like a detective club called the Peacock Detectives, because Cassie's neighbours' peacocks go missing a lot. And so it starts off like that, but then as the story gets complicated, they become detectives to find out like other mysteries about their families and their parents. And I wouldn't say it's a coming of age story, but it's like, because they're only 13 or something, but it's a coming of age in the sense that they grow and learn a bit, like as they learn about family dysfunction and mental illness and other things like that, they sort of grow. So anyway, it's really, really good. I'll talk about it properly in my wrap up, but I do recommend it. It also has the most gorgeous cover, doesn't it? Anyway, there's that one. So I think that's all the main. Oh, I also got given this. So this is My Australian Story. I think the series is called My Australian Story, and the book is A Banner Bold by Nadia Wheatley. And this is actually a middle grade novel that was given to us from my husband's aunt and uncle for my son, along with a couple of other books. And I think it's a children's or middle grade novel, and it's about a young girl, but it's sort of the Eureka Stockade from her perspective. So if you don't know, the Eureka Stockade is sort of a well-known historical event here in Australia. Well, at least here in Victoria, my home state. In the mid-1800s, all the gold miners, because we had a gold rush here, basically rebelled against the British colonial government because they thought they were being ripped off through taxation and various other means. And there was a big battle and a number of the rebels died, and it's often told as sort of a major story of the underdog kind of winning. And I thought it sounded really interesting that it was told, like it was that story told from a young girl's perspective. This series sounds pretty interesting. The only thing is, I'm not sure if there's one from an indigenous perspective, but I could be making that up. Yeah, but in any case, I look forward to reading this soon and we'll report back. So the next bunch are actually like children's picture books that were given to us, which are really great. So the first one is Melbourne, Word by Word by Michael McMahon, and this is super cute edition. Basically just a word book with really cool illustrations. So how's that for the cricket? Curtin House. So it's all these sort of Melbourne icons. The Westgate Bridge. Not sure where that is. It's probably Victoria Street, Richmond, in where I used to live, because they're all Vietnamese restaurants, and that's a very like Vietnamese community around there. Birrarung, Wilam, that's down by the river, and all sorts of things like the Queen Victoria Markets, Flinders Street Station. So it's sort of like a word book with Melbourne icons. So that's really cool. Be fun to teach Harry all about the city in which he lives. We also got Iggy, Peck, Architect, which probably a number of you, if you have kids, have heard of. This is a really cute story about a little boy who loves building things, but his teacher is scared of buildings, but he kind of shows her that buildings are really great, and the illustrations are super cute. It's got a really good rhyming scheme, and the reason we got given it is because my husband's an architect, so yeah, it's super cute. My daughter is actually really loving this at the moment. Another awesome picture book is Wilam. I mentioned Wilam before in the Melbourne book a Birrarung story, and this is the story of the Yarra River, which is the river that runs through Melbourne, and sort of from creation, but also it's about all the animals that live there, and it just has stunning illustrations. I put some on my Instagram as well, the black cockatoos, and then it goes right up to like ducks. Anyway, it's really beautiful, and it's got a lot of local language like integrated into it. And then at the end, it's got a glossary like translating all the local words into English. So that's really cool, and I think my daughter's really loving it too, and I've been reading it to Harry. Obviously he can't respond to it yet, but yeah, it'll be just really nice to teach them the indigenous sort of view of the river we live near. So that one's really nice. The other two were also from Stu's aunt and uncle for Harry, and they're just two Dr Seuss ones, the Lorax and All the Places You Go. They're both really lovely additions. What am I doing? They're both really lovely additions, and they're both so much fun to read, and I'd actually never read either of them, and this one is awesome. It's about becoming like your best adventurous self, but also understanding that life's going to be really hard and you're going to have down patches, but that's okay. You can still lead a full life even if you have struggles. And then the Lorax is like an environmental perspective, which I never knew. How about that? Even though I love Dr Seuss, I never read these ones. I didn't have them when I was little. So yeah, both really cool. So they're all the hard copy books I got. I also bought so many books on my Kindle because after the baby was born, it was just easier to read with one hand so I could hold the baby in the other hand. But I think I've talked about all the books on my Kindle I bought. So they were The Lost Man by Jane Harper, Resurrection Bay by Emma Viskic, 8 Lives by Sue Hurley, The Lebs by Mohammed Ahmad, and The Death of Noah Glass by Gail Jones. I think that's all. There's probably some more in there, but I'll add them in, like just some images. But I'll link the videos down below where I've already talked about those books because I don't want to bore you all senseless. All right, guys, that is my haul recently. Let me know if you've read any of those or what books you guys have been hauling lately, and we'll chat soon. Bye.